Hi everyone, I'm here this morning on the Pebblebed Heath, as most of you will recognise, on this lovely chilly December morning. My name's Kim and I'm the site manager for the Pebblebed Heath Conservation Trust. We're here today just to prepare a little video for you. Normally at this time of year we would have our Friends of the Common Forum, which is a lovely opportunity for you to join us for an evening to hear all about what we've been up to on the heaths and the Otter Estuary over the previous year. Sadly, for obvious reasons, we can't do that this year. So we are preparing a video to show you a little bit of insight into what we've been up to, and we hope that you enjoy watching it over the next few minutes. So obviously it's been a very challenging year. We don't really want to dwell on that. I'm sure we've all heard enough about that. But one thing it has really shown to us is the importance of the countryside and green space to everyone's health and well-being. We've had a lot of people discover the heath for the first time, or a lot of people that haven't been here for a while, and it has been lovely to see everybody out enjoying themselves. Obviously, as site managers, that poses a bit of a challenge to us because we really need to balance the needs of people and recreation with wildlife, because this is such a special site. So a big part of our job this year has been talking to people about how they can enjoy the site but help us to care for it. So thank you to everyone for really doing their bit to help us protect this special place. Before I pass on to the rest of the team, I'd just like to take this opportunity to really thank the site team. They have done an incredible job this year. I'm sure you would join me in thanking them if you were here with me today. It has been a tough old year, and they have worked throughout the whole period to just make sure all our conservation work still happens and to keep the site safe and accessible for everybody to enjoy. So thank you to the whole of the team.
I'm Kate Ponting. I'm the Countryside Learning Officer at Clinton Devon Estates. So that means I talk to people about how the countryside works, I answer their questions if I can, and I also listen to their concerns. So up here on the Pebblebed Heaths, I lead the education programme, I manage the Friends of the Common, and I get to spend a day a week outside with the practical volunteers. This year it's been really important to continue to get the volunteers out, both for the valued contribution they make to the habitat and the landscape, but also for their mental health. So the kind of things that we've been doing in the early part of the year, in the summer we were looking at pulling Himalayan balsam on the tributaries of the River Otter. And now we've moved back into winter work, so we're doing scrub clearance and habitat improvements, and also we've spent a lot of time removing some of the old barbed wire from around the plantations, which obviously improves things for visitors who are moving from the open access land of the heath to the permissive access of the forestry plantations.
I'm Charlotte, hello. I'm actually a trustee of the Pebblebed Heath Conservation Trust, so I'm a volunteer perhaps once a month, and it's been brilliant actually getting to know people who love the heaths, but also getting to know people who really understand the ecology and the biodiversity of this area, because as a trustee I'm mostly dealing with some of the big issues about the future of the landscape and becoming a nature reserve. But here I'm mixing with people who really understand individual species and habitats, and who work really hard to make sure that they are the best they can be, so that from a biodiversity point of view the heaths just get better and better.
So what we're trying to do here is to provide bearer habitat. Because we have Ilex gallii, this dwarf gorse, it tends to overshadow and outcompete the heathers and obviously the bare ground. Well, the silver-studded blue really likes more open areas with pioneer heathers. It's a very complicated and amazing life story they've got.
The Friends of the Common are really important for the Conservation Trust, because they help us make decisions to guide the future direction of the trust. They're really valued advocates for the site. They've got lots of different interests, and they keep us focused on what really matters to people. The volunteers are kind of a separate part of that. It came out of some individuals in the Friends of the Common who wanted to do something practical, to give something back. And we started about 6 years ago with just a handful of volunteers, and we were out every fortnight, and we didn't do very much in the summer, and now we're sort of 6 years in. We've got 40 or 50 regular volunteers, which means that most weeks we've got about 20 people out every single week of the year on a Wednesday, whatever the weather, making a really, really big difference to the site.
Hi, well, I'm Paul Swain, been on the pebble beds now for over 20 years, and it's my place to stay. It's what we do, and we do it for a living. So and we're actually, I'd like to say, welcome to East Budleigh Common, where we're here and we're cutting and clearing brash, as we do every winter on all the areas, and that is why I'm sat in this loading shovel with a coffee. This is really all about scrub clearance, the invasive trees that are taking over the heathers, the gorses and the grasses, and we actually want the heathers, gorses and grasses to survive and not come into woodland. So for some people it is frustrating because they think, oh, there's wonderful trees that are growing up, but actually we are protecting heather, gorse and grass, and that's our job. This happens to be around an area that was very much all about the historical times of World War I, II, with building bases, and some of the shots you'll be able to see later on will show the areas of encroachment of the silver birch and the willows. So we're here cutting and clearing to create the right habitats for heathland, for our wildlife, our rare wildlife. The best thing for me has been actually the new visitors, people that have actually gone, I can't go to the gym, but I can have fresh air and exercise. Met some absolutely wonderful people, interested, curious when we were cattle grazing, horse grazing around the commons. Some wonderful chats, people in trainers in mad areas but having so much fun, families and all, elderly, young. So it's been absolutely fantastic meeting all those people.
So my name is Ed Lagden. I am the ranger for the Pebblebed Heaths. I've been part of the trust since 2009 when I was contracting for Paul and Bungie. It will be interesting to see when we do our survey work in the spring whether there's been any effect to our ground nesting birds from the increase in visitor numbers. Possibly or not, we don't know. But other than that, I can't really say. The nightjars did very well this year, and they're ground nesting, so that's a positive sign. So we'll see. So actually, at the moment, and this autumn going into winter, we've noticed, certainly myself and Leslie, the Dartford warblers all over the place, and we've obviously had a very nice summer for them, spring and summer for them. They don't like severe weather, so as long as we don't have a very cold winter. But they seem to have done very, very well. Now, when they're youngsters, the juveniles will move around all over the place anyway. So like I say, we'll see in sort of March time when we do the survey how well they've actually done. But at the moment, it's looking quite positive. So I don't believe there's going to be much of a negative impact with the people, I think, but we don't know yet. The reptiles are doing as well as they always do, I think, as far as I know, and from what I've seen about. And insect-wise, well, our southern damselflies unfortunately are down, but other damselflies as well, especially doing very well. So yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed year, I think. And this is another thing from this year, how much people like and enjoy seeing the livestock up here. That's been very obvious. So people asking when ponies are coming out, where they are, how are they. The fact that people sort of take ownership for them, which is really good. They worry about their welfare and stuff like that, which is really positive. So there's that to look forward to, whether we're going to expand the grazing at all. And then it's new winter sites. It's also coming back to sites like this. When this is all the timbers and scrubs gone, we've then got the sort of phase 2 of the management, whether that's spraying or bracken control, to try and get this back to heathland. There's stuff like that to look forward to. But yeah, there's very many big things in the pipeline, but for me it's what we've got to do on the ground, I think.
My name's Sam Bridgewater, and I'm Head of Wildlife and Conservation for Clinton Devon Estates. The lower Otter Valley is heavily modified by human hand. The river is disconnected from its floodplain, and this dates back to the early 19th century when an embankment was built, and this is at a time when more agricultural land was needed for food production, at a time when we were under blockade. But that canalised the river, and since that time the river hasn't been able to breathe as it once did. These embankments are now failing. With sea level rise, with increased stormy events, these embankments are beginning to fail. What we're trying to do with this project is to naturalise the river once again by breaching the embankment and letting the tide in as it once did, and recreate intertidal habitat, that's salt marsh and mudflat, for the benefit of wildlife. From about 2009 onwards, we've been looking at how we can adapt this valley to climate change. We teamed up with the Environment Agency to look at this and done lots and lots of studies and lots of engagement and consultations to see whether this project was the right thing to do, and also whether technically we could do it and whether we could afford to do it. We're now up to a detailed design. A planning application has been submitted, and that is now going through a consultation phase. And the planning committee will be meeting in the new year to decide whether the project goes ahead or not. It is a massive project. It's a huge amount of landscape scale change, probably the likes of which East Devon hasn't seen for hundreds of years. This is a much loved, it's a beautiful valley, it's much loved. People have its importance of sense of place. And how I would respond to that is that I think it is going to change. The change is inevitable. I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but certainly what we have now is fantastic, but I think what we can get is even better. Intertidal habitat is biodiverse, it supports lots of wildlife, it supports winter and wading birds, it sequesters carbon. It is the actual type of habitat, that kind of environment that really should be here, and in fact was here before we built the embankment. And the idea is to make this less modified, more beautiful, but it will be very, very different. So we are going from a pastoral landscape of trees and hedgerows to one that is more open and more intertidal in nature.
Thank you for watching the roundup from the team, and we would like to take this opportunity to wish you and your families a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year.
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!